Get ready for a colorful, feathery tale about a little bird with a big dream. Join us for The Jackdaw Who Wanted to be a Peacock, and discover what happens when you try to be someone you're not.
High above. A small, black jackdaw with shiny, curious eyes soared gracefully near the Grand King's palace. Below, he spotted something truly magnificent in the royal garden, a sight that made his heart flutter with a mix of wonder and a tiny pinch of envy. There, a dazzling flock of royal peacocks flaunted their glorious iridescent plumage. Each peacock, about 3 times the size of the jackdaw, shimmered in shades of emerald, sapphire, and gold. The jackdaw, a tiny speck against the vast blue sky, felt a strange longing as he watched them. The jackdaw, whose own feathers were simply a deep, velvety black, often felt a little plain compared to other birds. He wasn't known for fancy dances or loud, cheerful songs, but he had a clever mind. Watching the splendid peacocks, he imagined what it would be like to be as regal and admired as they were. A bright idea, like a sudden spark, flickered in his clever little bird brain. "If only I looked like one of them," he chirped softly to himself as he flapped closer. He noticed something interesting scattered on the pristine emerald green lawn. Many beautiful, discarded peacock feathers, shimmering with all the colors of the rainbow, lay sparkling like jewels under the warm sun. These weren't just any feathers. They were long, elegant plumes, each one a miniature masterpiece. A mischievous grin, as much as a bird can manage, spread across his tiny beak. This was his chance to transform. Carefully, with his beak and tiny claws, the jackdaw began to gather the most magnificent feathers he could find. He picked up one long, luminous blue feather, then a shimmering green, and then another with a golden eye spot. With great concentration, he started tucking them among his own plain black wing and tail feathers. It was tricky work, but his determination shone through. He wanted every feather to sit just right, like a king preparing for a grand ball. Soon, the jackdaw looked quite extraordinary, a comical sight with his black body adorned with a flamboyant explosion of shimmering colors. He proudly admired his reflection in a clear puddle, puffing out his chest with newfound confidence. "Now I truly look the part," he thought, his heart swelling with pride. He took a deep breath and decided it was time to show off his stunning new look. First to his old flock, then to the royal peacocks. With a jaunty stride, the newly decorated jackdaw strutted past his old companions, who were pecking for worms in a nearby field. He held his head high, a little too high perhaps, and offered a dismissive glance. His friends, other small black jackdaws of similar size, stopped their foraging, tilting their heads in surprise and then confusion. They watched him with puzzled murmurs, wondering where their friend had suddenly gained such haughty airs, leaving his bewildered friends behind. The jackdaw took to the air, his borrowed feathers rustling softly in the breeze. He gracefully landed right in the middle of the splendid peacock gathering in the royal garden. He tried to mimic their elegant postures, fanning his makeshift tail, though it wobbled a bit. He hoped to blend in seamlessly, to become one of them, a true royal bird. At first, the royal peacocks blinked at the newcomer, their beautiful heads cocked to one side. But it didn't take long for their sharp eyes to notice something terribly amiss. The feathers were magnificent, yes, but the bird underneath was clearly not one of them. In fact, he was just a plain old jackdaw, a tiny black impostor wearing stolen finery. A murmur of disbelief rippled through the flock. Suddenly, a large, iridescent blue peacock let out a loud, indignant squawk, its beautiful long neck stretching in anger. Other peacocks joined in, their cries echoing through the garden. They were furious at the deception. A cheat! A fraud! They seemed to squawk in unison. Their majestic tails, usually fanned in pride, now quivered with rage. "You are not like us!" With a terrifying rush of wings, the angry peacocks surrounded the poor little jackdaw. They pecked and pulled at his borrowed plumage, ripping away the colorful feathers one by one. Not only did they strip him of his fancy disguise, but in their fury, they also pulled out some of his own precious black feathers, leaving him looking ruffled and sore. The once proud jackdaw was left with little dignity, a mere shadow of his imagined self. Humiliated and hurting, the jackdaw beat a hasty retreat, flying clumsily back towards the simple field where his old friends lived. His heart was heavy, feeling the sting of both the physical pain and the crushing disappointment. He truly believed he would be welcomed back with open wings by the jackdaws he had abandoned. Perhaps they would offer comfort and understanding after his terrible ordeal. But as he neared them, another wave of unpleasantness washed over him. His former companions had seen his arrogant strut earlier, and they had not forgotten his superior airs. They remembered how he had looked down on them, thinking he was too good for their simple company. Their expressions hardened from confusion to clear disapproval. Instead of a comforting welcome, a chorus of angry caws filled the air. "Look who it is! The fancy peacock!" they mocked, their voices sharp and unwelcoming. They remembered his snobbish behavior and felt hurt by his rejection. They decided he deserved a taste of his own medicine for trying to be someone he wasn't, pushing them aside in his quest for artificial glamour. To punish him for his arrogance and his attempt to abandon them, the jackdaws began to peck at him, not fiercely like the peacocks, but with sharp, stinging jabs. They drove him away, a rain of pecks and jeers forcing him to fly further and further from his true home. The physical pain was nothing compared to the ache in his lonely heart, now truly an outcast. The poor jackdaw finally understood a very important lesson that day. It's always best to be true to yourself, embrace your own unique qualities, and appreciate your real friends. Trying to be someone you're not, or pretending to be better than others, only leads to sadness and loneliness. Our true worth shines brightest when we are honest and kind, just as we are, black feathers and all.
Ever dreamed of being the hero? Now you get to be the star. Your adventure starts at TalesMio. Visit talesmio.com now.